Are there things you recommend your patients do to help with stress? Staying cool, calm, and collected, especially when you get triggered?
For sure. Yeah. And stress is a tough one because it's
I
easy
know.
to just say, like, oh, I'm really stressed.
I know.
But I kind of compare stress to hunger. There's times in our life where we're just going to be starving and we can't prevent it and we're going to be hungry. Like, there's times we're just going to be stressed. Like, the goal is not to not stress, the goal is to have healthy ways to manage your stress.
Hi, this is the Care Room with Dr. Cindy. Welcome. It's a space that was created just for you. I'm your host, Dr. Cindy, and this is a chance to get up close and personal with me. We're going to talk about the things in medicine that matter to you. We'll talk about the questions you've been carrying. We're going to have some honest conversations. We're going to hold space for joy, struggles, and everything in between. It's care that goes beyond the exam room. Care you're going to take home with you, whether you're listening while you're driving or you're listening while you're exercising. I promise that it's going to be care that's rooted in truth and a deep commitment to walking with you every step of the way. I'm glad you're here.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Care Room with Dr. Cindy. Welcome to another fabulous episode. Today, I have a very special guest with me. It's Dr. Sarah Pederson. She is a fertility expert. But I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell us all about her. Dr. Peterson, the floor is all yours.
Thanks so much, Dr. Cindy. My name is Sarah Pederson. I'm an OBGYN. I really fell into doing holistic women's health and fertility. So that's what I specialize in now. I have a clinic called Vera Health and Fertility in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, yeah. So we're so happy that you're here with us to share some of your wisdom and your experience. So, Dr. Peterson, I know you mentioned that you do a lot of holistic women's health and fertility. Can you tell us how you got drawn to that specialty of care?
Yeah, originally I would say I was what I would consider a regular OBGYN. And I just felt like we were missing something, that there
Sure.
was more that we could be offering women. And so I really did this. I kind of went down a rabbit hole of just studying holistic medicine, learning from other docs who had gone more into that holistic world, doing a lot of different trainings because you really, unfortunately, don't really learn it in medical school as
Right.
much, even just like the basics of what you should be eating in relation to your
Sure.
hormone profile and how you should be exercising. And so I just, and even just learning from my patients, I feel like I've been able to now incorporate a lot of more nutrition and lifestyle and exercise into my practice than I ever did. And I just love it. I'll never go back. It's like the core of what you do and how you feel. And I feel like it should be the standard of care in medicine.
Agreed, agreed. So, can you tell us more about that connection between what we eat and our hormones? Mm.
So every month you want the flow of your hormones is really important
Oh, don't we know
because
it all as ladies?
exactly. And sometimes,
Mhm.
you go to your doctor and they check your hormones and they say, oh, your hormones are normal, but you don't feel good. And so I tell my patients, nobody can tell you that you're normal if you're not feeling good. Like
Right.
you know your body better than anybody else. You know how you're feeling better than anybody. And so we really have to sometimes just do a little bit deeper dive and get a little bit more specific. For example, you want to make sure you're having a regular period every 21 to 35 days, but not varying more than 3 days. You want to feel excellent energy your whole cycle. You don't want to feel PMS. You don't want to have sugar cravings. Sometimes we normalize those things and say, oh, you're just PMSing, but really that's a huge sign of a hormonal imbalance.
Okay.
And everything that we do, it always starts with nutrition because the way that you eat, the way that your cycle is lined up, it can promote or suppress your body's ability to make hormones in that beautiful cyclic fashion that we're trying to see. And so, what you're eating and also your gut health is really important because you could be eating all these nutrients to support your estrogen and your testosterone. But if your gut's not absorbing it, then you're not able to make hormones in proper amounts.
I see. Okay. So, tell us more about how that plays. I know, like, perimenopausal symptoms, and the whole menopause movement is pretty
Mhm.
big right now. So how does that play a role with that, your hormones and having those symptoms?
So their whole endocrine system is really related. So your thyroid, your adrenal glands, your prolactin, your metabolism, everything has to be in balance. And a lot of times multiple things can be off balance and that's can contribute to us feeling extra bad
Right.
because a lot of the things that we feel in perimenopause, our hormones are really off, our thyroid's off, our adrenal glands are off, and that really gives us those symptoms of having horrible hot flashes and losing sleep and having mood swings. And so a lot of times we have to focus on a
Cozy.
lot of things at once instead of just, oh, it's just going to be this one thing. If I fix this one thing, then I'm going to feel better.
Right.
And so, with regards to our metabolism, every 10 years we have a metabolic reset. So, when you're 20, when you're 30, when you're 40, when you're 50. And that's why people often have the symptoms of, I'm working out even more than I used to. I'm eating the same. I'm still gaining weight. What's going on? So, we really have to make sure, especially in those times of hormonal transition, that we learn about our metabolism and what it needs and learn about our hormones and learn how to fuel them in a way where we feel better and aren't gaining weight when we don't want to.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm struggling with some belly fat that I can't shake. But are there any particular foods that are better, like for this hormonal balance? Have you come across any, or
So,
have you?
usually, when our estrogen is low, the four foods that support your estrogen the most, one is omega 3s.
Okay.
So, either supplementing with omega 3 or eating fish is important. The
Mm.
hard thing is that if you look at the top 10 omega 3 foods, they're all fish.
Right.
Like, there's no cheating. We either have to eat fish or we have to supplement. The
Okay.
second is protein. Most women are not getting enough protein.
Hmm.
So, in order to make estrogen properly, you have to have at least 80 grams of protein a day. And if
Okay.
you're working out really hard, you need to be having around 100.
Sure.
But it's really hard to get that because even if we eat two eggs in the morning for breakfast, one egg is only 5 grams of protein.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard because, a lot of times as women, we're not going to sit down and always eat a huge meal or a ton of calories.
We eat
So
on the go. Mm-hmm.
exactly right. And so I really encourage patients to like make sure you're sitting down and eating a full meal because otherwise you're not getting enough protein and nutrients to literally give yourself enough nutrients for you to make estrogen properly. And then the third thing is B vitamins.
Okay.
There's B vitamins 1 through 12 and the best way to get B vitamins is through vegetables.
Okay.
So my goal for my patients is to eat 3 to 6 vegetables a day because
Okay.
it gives you this huge diversity of B vitamins.
Okay.
And then the last thing is grains. So there's a lot,
Mm.
really specific B vitamins that only come from grains. And
I'm not a
so,
fan, but
well, I think there's a lot of, it's tough because you're like, should I be carnivore? Should I be keto? Should I be
right.
paleo? And I've just found that a lot of women don't really do that well because if you're not getting high quality grains, your energy actually plummets, your hormones plummet because you're not eating enough B vitamins to support your hormone production. But that makes sense because a lot of people, we don't feel that great unless we have a little bit of carbs in our diet.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, drawing on your fertility experience, and a lot of my viewers, a lot of my listeners, are women, and there are quite a few who are struggling to get pregnant. How does that play a role, or how can maintaining your hormonal balance with nutrition help fertility? If I further define that question.
Yes. So the reason that your hormones, are so important in your fertility is because you need enough estrogen in order to grow a follicle, and inside the follicle is an egg. So it helps with your follicular growth, and then you need enough estrogen in order to ovulate, and then you also need enough estrogen in order to support your uterus lining so your uterus can hold a baby. So the amount of estrogen in each phase of the cycle is extremely important for fertility. And then after we ovulate, we make progesterone. And so you also need enough progesterone in order to support a baby. And then I think one hormone that's actually really overlooked in women is testosterone because we
Yeah.
think of it as a male hormone. But
Mhm.
more and more data is coming out that women actually need testosterone for our energy, for our healing, and from a fertility standpoint because it stabilizes a growing follicle. So if we have low testosterone, we can't ovulate. So when people have low testosterone, I often have them really focus on protein and weightlifting because those are the two things that can really help improve your testosterone levels. And then if your estrogen levels are low, I just make sure that we're really fueling all of those four estrogen foods. So your protein, your grains, your B vitamins, and your omegas.
Sure, sure. And we're seeing we're that struggle with the testosterone now, again, with the whole perimenopausal and
Hmm.
menopausal movement, and the difficulty with even prescribing it, because the doses are really geared towards men, right?
Hmm.
But we women need it too, right?
100%. It's
Yeah,
very true. Yep.
yeah. So if someone wanted to eat for hormonal balance, what would a plate of food look like? Can you give, I know you gave like categories like the grains,
Yep.
and the protein, and so I am used to probably going to McDonald's. I'm just saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
hypothetically, right? But I am at a stage in my life where, I'm more conscious of my health. Um, I want to, you know, do something, to help me feel better, without necessarily going the medication route. Um, what would my plate look?
Love it. Yes. So, in a perfect world, you would eat breakfast within 1 hour of waking up. And
Okay,
a lot of people say, Sarah, I am not hungry in the morning, which I totally get. I'm not hungry in the morning either. However, that's when our cortisol levels are the highest. So that's when we need to fuel our energy and our metabolism. Otherwise, our energy and metabolism will just be sluggish for the whole day. So you want to be eating 20 grams of protein in the morning for breakfast. And also in a perfect world, we would eat vegetables with each meal. So you want to be eating 2 eggs, full fat, plain Greek yogurt. You can put some berries on it. When you make your eggs, throw in some spinach, throw in some tomatoes. It's a sneaky way to get your vegetables. Chicken sausage is a big one, or any kind of lean meat.
sure.
And the other thing is the kind of hack that I use often is just to throw a scoop of protein powder into your coffee. If you drink coffee or tea in the morning, I just tend to be a purist. 95% of protein powders out there have 60 ingredients and they're crap. You really have to be anal about what's in your food. So when you have a protein powder, it's literally just protein and that's it.
Sure. Okay.
So you have to eat breakfast and then you want to eat enough protein for breakfast that you're not hungry until lunch. So women, we tend to not do well with huge intermittent fasting windows, but you only need about a 3 to 4 hour fasting window to keep your blood sugar stable. So
Okay.
you eat enough breakfast that in 3 or 4 hours, then you're ready to eat lunch. And yeah, we do have to sit down and eat lunch. So for lunch, we got to have two vegetables and some kind of protein. And then you want to have a high quality grain. So a good seed bread, quinoa, brown rice, wild rice, some kind of meat, and then two vegetables.
That actually sounds really good. I'm just saying, hypothetically, if someone liked, their fast food, that, they can actually do this. Not talking about myself at all. No, no, no.
Yeah, and also just things like the order of food matters. Like you want to start
Sure,
with a vegetable and then do a protein and then do a bread.
sure. I know
And
you mentioned like the sugar swings. How can that affect our mood? If you can expand on that some more. Yeah.
it's such an important question because a lot of times we tend to eat just plain old carbohydrates by themselves, or our carb to protein ratios are way off. So if you think about two pieces of bread, one piece of bread is about 15 grams of carbs. So two pieces of bread, that's 30 grams of carbs. It's really hard to get 30 grams of protein to match that. So we have a sandwich. We barely eat any protein. We eat all this bread. Our blood sugar spikes. In 2 hours, we're crashing and then we're starved. And then we eat a bar, and a bar has 37 grams of carbs. right? And then we're starving and then we're dying and then we're off of work. And then in the afternoon, we need to eat candy and we feel like we need a nap and we're in a huge slump. So when your carb ratios are off, it puts you on this huge glucose roller coaster where your highs are really high and your lows are really low. That's why protein is so important, because you want to make sure you're eating enough protein where it's not spiking your blood sugar and then you crash and feel exhausted in 2 hours.
Right. So, can I put some protein in my coffee and run out the door and I should be okay?
No, 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 no. You have to eat and then drink your coffee. There's no cheats.
Just asking.
Okay, it's better than nothing. It's
Yes.
better than just drinking coffee and having nothing for breakfast. Like having protein is okay, but in a perfect world, we would have breakfast and then coffee.
Got it. Got it. So Dr. Pederson, so I have been watching your videos and they are the best, okay? You're with your sperm, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if he has a name. Does he have a name?
We should name him. I
Yes.
should ask what our semen analysis guru named him.
We're talking more to our ladies, but can you tell us more about the relationship between nutrition and our sperm counts or sperm motility? Or I think I was listening. It's called progressive motility.
Right. Yes, exactly.
And there you had your 6 components. They are lovely videos.
Yeah, we have a little sperm stuffy because we do semen analyses. And so
Yeah.
it was funny because my kids came into the office and they said, "Mom, what is that?" And I was like, I don't know if I should tell you what that little stuffy is. Right, exactly. We'll talk about that
Are we
later.
ready to have that conversation?
Yeah, exactly. But it's so important, because a lot of times when we think of fertility, we do tend to focus on women, and then we're like, oh, it's our fault, what's going on with us? But 30 to 60% of fertility is also men. And so there's a lot that goes into sperm health. And the big thing that is sperm health is antioxidants. So omega-3s are important, but even just literally eating enough vegetables to promote healthy sperm counts, because if you're not getting enough antioxidants, your sperm will literally have 3 heads and 2 tails, and they'll be slow and sluggish. And we can see that when we do a semen analysis. So because they just don't have enough nutrients in order to make high quality sperm. So vegetables are huge for men. Men, it's tough because the healthy sperm diet is a little bit rough. For example, women can tolerate having caffeine, but it's been shown in studies that caffeine is not good for sperm quality.
Got it.
So alcohol is also really bad for sperm quality. And then sugar and processed foods and red meat, which is super cruel because it's all the fun things. It's like alcohol, caffeine, red meat. But if we think about it, it's not that you can't have it. You just have to have way more white meat than red.
Got it. Okay. Wow. Okay. How about for those who like to have a little marijuana where it is legal?
Yeah.
Can you touch on that and how it affects sperm? I know I have some listeners.
Yeah, it's really, really bad for your sperm quality. Because if you think about how it works, it just kind of slows you down and makes you sluggish. It does the exact same thing to your swimmers.
Right.
It does the same thing to your sperm. Like, we can see it under a microscope. The sperms are a bit slower.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, they're swimming upstream, right? Like, your uterus is actually pointed up in your body. And so you need them to be as strong and healthy as possible, because they have to make it all the way to the fallopian tubes for fertilization.
There you have it, guys. Dr. Pederson said it. Okay.
I know. It's cruel. The male rules are a little tough.
All right. So in terms of this hormonal balance, is just nutrition enough, or do we need some supplements as well?
I love that. So everything I do, I always like, the core is nutrition.
Yeah.
And just moving your body, right? So for example, if you're really, really estrogen dominant, you can tolerate a lot fewer carbohydrates and sugar than if you're low estrogen. So if you're low estrogen, we really focus on you can tolerate having a little bit more carbs and nutrients. If you're really high estrogen, for example, you need to be a little bit closer to like a paleo, low sugar, low carb diet. So your hormone profile really has to do, like how you eat can really support or hurt your hormone profile, because sugar can fuel your estrogen. So just like you get your high blood glucose highs and lows, you can get estrogen highs and lows. So then the number one thing is like, can we get it from food? If we can't get it from food, then I add supplements.
Right. And then you
And
mentioned
that,
the B12, the vitamin Bs, or
right. So in a perfect world, we do nutrient testing and test your vitamins and only give your body what it actually needs, so that you're
okay.
not just taking a bunch of supplements for no reason.
Okay.
But if there's like one supplement that you should take, it's probably omega-3.
Omega-3. Okay, got
A
it.
1,000 milligrams.
Okay. Is it true that soy is bad for women and their hormonal health?
It is true. Soy something, well, it's not that you universally have to stop it. It's just that it is a phytoestrogen.
Okay,
So it can fuel your estrogen production. I
I
had a
see.
patient who was vegan, and we mapped her hormone profile, and her estrogen was super high, because when you're vegan, you do eat a lot of soy.
Right.
And I said, having high estrogen all the time is affecting your fertility. She said, Sarah, I don't believe you.
So you guys,
So I had her cut down her soy. She didn't have to eliminate it, but you just
right.
can't have it every single day. And then she was eating a lot of white bread and white rice and
True.
a lot of just simple carbs that were fueling her estrogen. So I just converted her over to like higher quality grains. In 1 month, her hormone profile was fine. And in 2 months, she was pregnant. And she was like, Sarah, you're right. You were right. Like, I thought I was being really healthy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you must get such a feeling in your heart from, doing what you do, especially, when patients come back and they're pregnant. Yeah, tell
Yeah,
us
I have the
tell us
best
about that,
job in
Dr.
the world. I just
Yes.
love it. But the cool thing is you're just empowering women to learn about their bodies. So she was like, I don't believe you, because being vegan is healthy. And I said, it's not that you can't be vegan. You just have to learn your body and what it needs.
Right.
So if we can back down on your soy, switch over some of your grains to be higher quality grains. And then she felt better. She had more energy. She could see her hormones literally be better on her labs. And so it's just kind of, it's very honor, like it just brings me a lot of honor and joy to just teach
Yeah.
people about their bodies so they can make their own decisions to balance their own hormones.
Yeah, that's awesome, Sarah. Thank you for doing that. Aw, I'm getting all the feelies. So, so Sarah, I am family practice, so I also have a lot of adolescent patients, a lot of adolescent girls. Do the rules change for them? Like, the ones who are just starting with their periods, it might not be regular yet. They're still, growing. So when it comes to nutrition and the hormonal balance, does anything change for that population or that subset of patients?
That is a really great question. I think, especially when you're in adolescence or in your teen years, your brain is still developing. And so that's where we can feel super hormonal. Like we're just surging. Highs are highs and lows are low. But the same principles that apply for all hormone balance are really important as a teenager, because I think sometimes we just tend to eat a lot of chips, or we're like going to, we're busy, we're going to dance and volleyball, and we're just grabbing things on the go here and there, and we're just really not eating enough vegetables. And so those natural highs and lows that our body's going through as we're developing are made much worse if we're eating things that are fueling our estrogen instead of balancing it. So you still have to be eating 3 times a day, eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, eating a vegetable and a protein every single time. Really stay away from sugar, especially sugar by itself, or processed food. Like as much as you can get things in their natural self, like just fruit and vegetables versus something in a package, it will really help you balance your hormones.
Sure. So, okay. So, for if mom is listening, um, we would just, and mom is also doing it, but daughter as well. So we would probably just follow the same pattern. same eating habits.
Yeah, I think that I see a lot of patients who they are just really, really, really active and they're in all the sports and they're doing all the things and they eat dinner super, super late. And so they're just kind of snacking all day and eating chips and that kind of a thing and eating a lot of sugar. And so when I tell them about how their nutrition really can fuel their hormones, and I say it's going to be a lot of work because you literally have to sit down and eat dinner in your life. Like you can't just come home and eat dinner at 9 o'clock. They feel so much better, even just making tiny changes that they don't even need to be on medication or anything.
That's awesome. Does it change for women who are breastfeeding? Um, are there different recommendations?
In breastfeeding, there's so many ways why our hormones are low. One,
Oh,
pregnancy really depletes your nutrients. And so your body needs, like we talked about, enough vitamins in order to fuel your hormone production. And so it does take a few months for your body to get those vitamins back in a way where your hormones come up. And breastfeeding takes so many calories. So you really have to be eating enough calories to support your hormone production and
yeah.
breastfeeding at the same time.
Mhm.
And then we're not sleeping, our babies are waking up, so our cortisol levels are really high. That suppresses our hormone production. So when you're breastfeeding, you can get away with eating a lot more carbohydrates just because you
Okay.
literally need the calories.
Sure.
Otherwise, your hormones will be low and you'll just have that sense of chronically feeling fatigued and like your hormones are on the floor.
Sure. I don't know if you've noticed the patterns, but I'm asking about like different populations. So we talked about our teens, we talked about our lactating or breastfeeding moms. How about those who are trying to lose weight and they're on those GLPs, like the Ozempic or the Zepbound? How does that change things?
Yeah. So in a perfect world, I actually have a lot of my patients do continuous glucose monitoring.
Okay.
And it's really neat. We used to have a prescription, but now you can just order your one online for yourself. They're called Stello or Lingo, and I just have
Okay.
them monitor their glucose continuously. They wear a little device on their arm, it Bluetooths to their phone, and they can see what their glucose is doing every day. Because sometimes you're eating something that's spiking your blood sugar, and when your blood sugar is spiking, then you're in stress. And when your body is in stress, it holds on to weight and it doesn't let you lose weight
Mhm.
because not all calories are equal. Sometimes people say, well, I'm eating fewer calories, but I'm not losing weight. But if you're eating in a way that's stressing out your body, then you're not going to lose weight. And so it's really important to get some kind of data, like either do your glucose monitoring or do blood work so you can learn about your metabolism and what it needs. Some people, for example, worry that if I tell them to eat breakfast, now they're going to be eating more calories and now they're going to gain weight. But now their body's not stressed. They're not fasting. So even though they're eating more calories in the morning for breakfast, they're actually finally able to lose weight because their body has enough nourishment to promote their natural body functions and their hormone production. It's not stressed all day long.
Got it. That makes so much sense. Are there things you recommend your patients do to help with stress um, and staying cool, calm, and collected, especially when you get triggered?
For sure. Yeah. And stress is a tough one because it's
I
easy
know.
to just say, like, oh, I'm really stressed.
I know.
But I kind of compare stress to hunger. For example, there's times in our life where we're just going to be starving and we can't prevent it and we're going to be hungry. Like, there's times we're just going to be stressed. Like, the goal is not to not stress, the goal is to have healthy ways to manage your stress. So just like you never want to be hangry, and when we are hangry, right? If we haven't eaten enough or we spent the whole day, or like there's good things that we can eat and there's bad things that we can eat, right? There's like good things that'll get us back on track. And then there's things like just eating a bunch of candy or something by itself that can really throw us off. I feel like stress is kind of the same way. It's like
Yeah.
you want to try to plan your day to just mitigate stress as much as possible. And if you are stressed, you literally need to make a stress action plan of like, okay, I'm gonna go outside. I'm gonna call my friend. I'm gonna do this. Like,
I love
just
it.
to make awareness in your body and have a literal plan. Because otherwise, if you just say, "Oh, don't stress," like you're gonna stress.
Right, right. I love it. Make a stress action plan. Never thought of it like that. Yeah.
And talk to it with your friend, your husband, like your
Yeah.
partner, somebody else, so that you can just acknowledging that you're stressed goes
Yeah.
such a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. So how does sleep, because our hormones are affected by sleep, so the interplay of sleep and stress and hormones, um, how does can you tell us
How
more?
does it all work? Yeah.
Yes.
So I recommend that you do a 1 hour cool down before you go to bed. So in a
Okay.
perfect world, we'd be in bed by 10 o'clock p.m. because that's when our melatonin is the highest, like your natural melatonin production. And then you don't want to do any blue light, no screens, no computer 1 hour before bed.
So
And if
not my phone while I'm trying to fall asleep.
I know. Instagram scrolling.
Yes.
Or if you're like, Sarah, I'm going to do it anyway, at least get a pair of blue light glasses so
Yeah.
that you're not just triggering your brain because that literally brings your cortisol high and that will just keep you where you have that feeling of like you're just going to bed and you're zooming and you're thinking of all the things that is mediated by cortisol. And so you literally want to bring your cortisol down so that your melatonin can work and you'll get sleepy
Okay.
because high cortisol in the middle of the night, it can also cause you to wake up at night, be wide awake and not be able to go back to sleep. So you literally have to have a cool down, like your aromatherapy, your music, your shower, your journaling, you're reading a book, you're in a dim place. Like you have to have a good routine.
Okay.
You have it dark, it's cold, whatever it is that makes you calm down.
Right.
And then you go to bed at 10. Most bodies need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Sleep is the cornerstone of health. You don't get a good night's sleep, you'll find your hormones and your blood sugar is going to be crazy all day long the next day.
Right. Sleep is good. Guys, you hear that? You said 8 to 9 hours, right? Eight to nine,
7 to 9.
seven
Yeah.
to nine. Okay. 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I don't get close to that, Sarah.
No. And in a week, you don't want to have a sleep deficit. So, for
Right.
example, if you get like 6, 7, 7, then you have to make that up at some point within 7 days.
Oh, Sarah, you're giving me homework.
I know, but it's like I think sometimes we think like, "Oh, I'm so tired." It's kind of a badge of honor, but really you don't want to be tired. You want to feel great. You want to have good energy.
Yeah. But even as moms, right? Sometimes, if you're a mom of babies or young kids, you're getting up, quite frequently as well.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so oh, it's hard. It's hard. But thank you so much, Dr. Peterson. So, if someone is listening, they really liked what they heard, um, where can they find you?
My website is verafertility.com and then our Instagram is at verafertility.
Oh, and can you tell us again where you're located? Do you do
We're in
telemedicine? Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, I do lots of telemedicine and we're in Denver, Colorado.
Okay. And tell us more about your fertility practice, if you can. I know I have a lot of listeners who are struggling to get pregnant.
My whole philosophy is that we really want to figure out what is going on.
Okay.
Because if you've been trying for 3 months and you haven't been able to be pregnant, we do a lot of deep dives. So, everything from what's your nutrition like, what's your gut health like, how's your vaginal health, how's your uterus health, how's your egg quality. And the whole goal is to empower you to learn about your body, figure out exactly what it needs, and then be able to eat, work out, take supplements, take medication in a way where we're supporting your natural production of hormones, your natural ovulation, so you can get pregnant as naturally as possible.
Sure. And I know that you have started your sperm analysis with your clinic. Can you tell us more about that as well? Yeah.
So, as an OBGYN, I resisted seeing men for a really long time because obviously you go into OB because you want to see women. However, just like there's kind of a dearth in holistic healthcare for women, there's a huge dearth for men because
Sure.
often men go to their primary care doctor and they say, "Oh, you're fine, you're good, you don't need to do anything." And there's just not a lot of digging into what are you eating, how are you working out, how's your stress level, what's your sleep, all these things that I know you do. And so that we just sort of started seeing men because we just really pay attention to those holistic things that sometimes they don't always get from other doctors.
Yeah. And I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but can you tell us, because I love hearing the success stories, and I'm sure my audience will as well, but can you tell us of your most memorable success story,
I
fertility
have
story? So
so
I'm sure
many.
you do.
I have the best job in the whole world because
I'm
it's
sure.
super fun. But I just saw a patient this morning,
Mhm.
and she and her husband had a kind of rare disorder, and she did 3 rounds of IVF and they all failed. And she was like a healthy person. Like she ate really great. Her husband's a personal trainer, but we
Mhm.
did a lot of digging and we found out that she had something called ureaplasma, which so her vaginal health was off. And then she
Mm,
had endometriosis and she had pelvic congestion syndrome. So it wasn't necessarily like one thing, but it was a bunch of things that we worked
right.
on. And that all made her estrogen levels really, really low. So we
Mhm.
really focused on what does your diet need to look like every day to support your estrogen production in a way that gives you a high quality ovulation. And it took her about 6 months. And then she ovulated and she got pregnant and she had a beautiful baby girl named Nellie. And she just came to see me for postpartum. And
Good.
yeah, she'd been to like 5 other doctors and nobody else could help her. And we did not have to do anything crazy. It was just like
Yeah.
learn about her body, learn how to nourish it, check some crazy things that nobody else checks for, and really get her body optimizing itself. And once your body's optimized, you will naturally optimize your fertility.
Guys, you heard it here. Definitely go check out Dr. Sarah Pederson. Dr. Sarah Pederson, it was such an honor to have you here with us today. I am so grateful. Like I do with all my guests, I ask, are you going to come back
Yes, and you're so inspiring, Dr. Cindy. I feel like it's so cool to
to chat? I know we need to do
yes,
this
and
more
just to have
often.
family medicine doctors that care so deeply about their patients and the little things. It's so great.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So guys, stay tuned. Next week, we'll have another inspiring episode as well. But for today, we are just so grateful for Dr. Sarah Peterson. All right.
Thanks, Dr. Cindy.
You are very welcome. You are very welcome. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for spending time in the care room today with Dr. Cindy. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, share this podcast. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow me there. Remember, you're not alone in this. There are doctors who do care. The information in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, treatment, or diagnosis. Always, always consult your personalized healthcare provider for medical guidance.